Monroeville. And Alyssa Beck, you are certainly up first. Please state your name for the record. You did sign in.
My name is Alyssa Beck. I've been here a few times before.
At least once.
At least more than once. I'm the founder of Sustainable Monroeville. It was either 2009 or 2010, I'm not sure. The idea is to move Monroeville forward in the green economy. I want to express my gratitude for being a Monroeville resident for the past 25 years. This is a great municipality. All of you that are sitting before us are doing a great job. I'm here tonight during the citizens' remarks and comments to bring up an issue that I wasn't aware of until I saw it in the Times Express on June 16th. And that is that there is seismic testing happening in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And I was surprised because I founded this organization and I hadn't heard about it until I saw it on the front page of the newspaper. It also said that seismic testing does not necessarily lead to fracking. And that also surprised me because in the experience of what's been going on in the Western Pennsylvania region, when fracking first came here in 2006, since then there are now 10,000 fracking wells that surround the city of Pittsburgh, which has banned fracking, and seismic testing certainly must be done before that, so that all these maps can be made of all the different layers of where the Marcellus Shale is, and of course below that the Utica Shale. If any of you are confused by some of the things I'm going to be saying, I totally understand. That's okay. If you don't understand what the fill in the blank I'm talking about, that's okay. We have some time to figure it out, but not a whole lot of time. Because once the companies come in and start to frack, we can't put an ordinance in place that where us as community members can tell where the seismic testing is allowed, because at that point it's too late. And so I'm here to educate myself and others and invite all of us to learn together. I have some questions for council. I have a distinct feeling that people aren't going to know the answers. Why? I have a background in biology. I'm a neurodevelopmental optometrist. And when I first read this several weeks ago, I've done hours and hours and hours and hours of research with top-notch people who were behind the ban of fracking in the city of Pittsburgh. It has taken me hours, and it is because of my education that I was able to understand what the heck everybody was talking about. So I'm going to bring up some questions. If you know the answers, great. If you don't, that's fine. I don't expect any answers tonight, but I do expect answers in short order. And if we can work together, because I think we're cooperators here, we're collaborators, we're not on opposite sides. None of us are. I'm going to share a few facts. On June 20th, 2017, the state of Pennsylvania Supreme Court, by majority rule, passed the Environmental Rights Act. The Environmental Rights Act guarantees the citizens of Pennsylvania clean air and clean water. It had been in place for many years, but it had not been in place by majority of the Supreme Court. It is now in place as of June 20th, 2017, by majority. So that is a huge thing for those of us that want to move us forward in the green economy. Because I have a very distinct question. The first question is seismic testing in our best interest in terms of clean air, clean water? Is Marcellus fracking and Utica fracking in our best interest in terms of health and wellness in the state of Pennsylvania? In our case, in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, we may be the first to be able to really ask this question. Legally, is this okay?
Alyssa, what you're asking is, Is it legal for them to do the seismic testing?
I know right now in the municipality of Monroeville, it is legal because we do not have an ordinance yet in place that limits where that seismic testing can be done. Okay? It's not in place. There are 130 municipalities or boroughs in Allegheny County. Half of them do not yet have seismic ordinance or fracking ordinances in place yet. I am here to appeal to all of you, the 7 of the council members, who can and will hopefully potentially put an ordinance in place that either bans fracking, just like the city of Pittsburgh, just like the state of New York, just like the state of now Maryland, or puts an ordinance in place that says, this is where you're allowed to do this, and these are our rules. We're not preventing it. We're not allowed to prevent it.
That's correct.
By law. But we certainly, to protect ourselves, our property values. I am very concerned about my property value. I live on a very nice block, one of the nicest blocks in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And my understanding is that just over into Westmoreland County, they're getting ready to put a well pad right at the end of Staunders Station. Most people, including probably most of us in this room, don't have an idea what seismic testing is. We don't really know what the process of fracking is, and we don't really know how it's affecting our air and our water. Why is a company brochure on the borough website explaining seismic surveying? The Monroeville Municipal website has information about seismic testing. It obviously came from either Huntley & Huntley or the company that is doing the seismic testing. I am requesting that the municipality of Monroeville remove that. Unless the municipality of Monroeville puts something up on the website that talks about the risks and dangers of explosives going into the air to do seismic testing. Because it needs to be equal. The citizens need to be represented. It's not okay with me, and it's not okay with others that I've spoken to put the company, the gas seismic testing company's information up on the public website and not put information to citizens. Citizens. I'm a citizen. I'm obviously a little bit more concerned about my health and wellness than most, and that's why I'm here representing people that don't know how, that are afraid to come up and speak because they might lose their job in the school district, because they might lose their job anywhere, okay? It is misleading to have this information up on the website without the counterpoint, so I'm asking that you take it down immediately unless you have detailed information about the risks of seismic testing.
Continue.
Is it legal for Huntley & Huntley or the other company that's doing the seismic testing and or their agents to come to my property without my permission?
No, that's a Bob, do they?
Pardon me?
Answer her question.
Private property, they would have to have some right.
Do we have a law yet on the books that tells us as citizens what our rights are? And that if there is damage from the explosives, such as our foundations being rocked, our windows being broken, our walls being cracked, that we don't have to pay for it, but that this gas company will do that?
I don't think we have any such law. I think it's part of the body of common law that if somebody damages your property, they have a responsibility for it.
So I sent to my councilman, Nick Gressack. Nick, did you receive the email I sent to you this afternoon?
I did.
Okay, so I've sent to Nick Gressack the ordinance that South Fayette County has put in place in 2012, seismic testing ordinance. I'm going to ask respectfully, and I did in the email, that Nick share that with all the council people. I have another copy of an ordinance that's put in place in 2016 for oil and gas exploration rules and regulations that we put out as a municipality so that we don't allow our land to be used inappropriately that will hurt our health and wellness. And I can forward that to you. Why is there no mention that if I allow them on my property, that I should have a pre-survey and post-survey inspection of my property? If there is damage, like I mentioned, I need to file a claim against Huntley & Huntley, or perhaps the other company that's doing the testing. It can be tied up in a years-long legal fight without prudent safeguards in place before and after the survey activity. Citizens in Monroeville need to be informed of this. We need to be informed about what is going on. If I allow an explosive device on my property, they say seismic testing. I talked to one of my neighbors today to ask her to come to this meeting. She said, "Seismic, what's that?" They're explosives that go down into the ground. If I allow an explosive device on my property, what does my homeowner's insurer have to say about that? Who in the borough has given this corporation the right to enter my property without my express written consent, the appropriate liability and indemnification
Nobody
agreement?
can do that, Alyssa, at this level here.
This is untrue, with all due respect, Mayor. Look, you're going to have to read the what South Fayette has put in place. Oakmont just passed a seismic testing ordinance on July 3rd, 2017. This is in our favor. I am representing Sustainable Monroeville on behalf of at least 150 in the community. I am representing myself as a citizen of Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
No, I get that, but they can't go on your property and do seismic testing without your approval.
And how do they ask for approval?
They have to come to you.
How? Do they knock on my front door?
I would assume they would have to talk to you in person.
I am not interested in assumptions. I would like a written treatise on the Monroeville website.
But I'm just telling you, I can't go on, we cannot go onto your property and do anything without your permission. That's common law there. I mean, there's no way this company can go in and do anything on your property without you know it.
Okay, I understand there is something called the Halliburton loophole, and the gas and oil industry have a lot of exceptions. I want to know what my rights are and what the protocol would be. Would they email to me? Would they call me on the phone? Would they knock on my door? I am a citizen in Monroeville. I want to know.
Well, that's fair, but I'm just telling you, they can't do anything on your property without your permission.
Do I own the rights under my property to oil and gas exploration? And how about all the others in the municipality who own property?
I would say that most people do not own the rights.
Does that mean that they can just come on my property because I don't own the rights?
If it is possible that they could do that, although there are restrictions on coming onto the surface of your property and trespassing, essentially. So you're not without protection.
So if they own the rights below my property, which I have a feeling they do own the rights below my property, and my next door neighbor decides to allow them to put a well pad or whatever, put some explosives in the front yard, can they then kind of horizontally come under my property because they own the rights?
They may in fact be able to horizontally come under your property for the purpose of drilling. I don't think that's the way they're going to do the seismic testing.
But not until they're ready to drill. Then they can do, because
no, there are different ways to, there are different ways to do seismic testing. It's not always an explosive charge. They also use trucks called thumper trucks that have these big tires on them that make a noise, and then they monitor the noise.
How many decibels is that noise?
I have no idea how many decibels.
Does it fall within the requirements of the
I have no
municipality
idea.
of Monroeville? What is the decibel limitation in the municipality of Monroeville? These are all questions that I'm going to come back and ask again.
Yeah, but you know, Alyssa, have you talked to Huntley and Huntley? They should be able to answer that more than certainly on us with your questions right now. Did you talk to Huntley and Huntley at all?
Did I talk to Huntley and Huntley?
Yeah, to answer some of these. They're going to have absolute answers to most of your questions.
Is it not the responsibility of the municipality of Monroeville to provide the citizens with this information, or do the citizens need to do their own research?
Certainly it is our responsibility to make sure whatever they do, it's done appropriately. I agree with you on that. But if you have specific questions like how many decibels that thumper would be, we're not going to know that. They would be able to answer that really quick. I mean, I'm just saying there's some of the questions I understand why you're asking, but the others, they would have those answers immediately.
Where has the seismic testing occurred so far, and which technique have they used in Monroeville, Pennsylvania?
Have they started yet?
I have no idea.
No.
I don't think they've even started yet.
No, they have not started yet, no.
Do we have the locations yet of where they plan?
Yeah, I passed those out in the map that Alyssa, I said I'd provide to you. And I passed it out to council on the roads. There's a list of roads I gave to council, and anybody wants a copy, they can get a copy.
And how do we get the copy?
I can give it to you tonight.
I would
No
appreciate
problem,
that.
yeah. But I don't have a copy for everybody in the room, obviously. There's a list of roads that have to be bonded for the seismic trucks, or as Mr. Ratcher said, the thumper trucks.
And what does bonded mean?
That means if they do any damage to the road, they bond the road. If they do any damage, we video the road beforehand, and we go out and inspect the road after they left. If there's any damage, they have to pay for it. They bond it.
And are they doing that for households as well? Are they doing pre-inspection so that if there's any damage?
No, that's a private matter.
Okay, so that would be a matter that the ordinance would cover.
As far as road bonding?
No, as far as private citizens who have property. In
Again,
other words,
that's
you're
a-
telling me that the company is responsible if it's public, like a road, but they're not responsible if it's a house?
Nobody's saying that,
No.
Alyssa. Nobody's saying that.
Okay, okay, I'm just trying to clarify. I've been advised that the bottom line is that if you're approached as a private citizen by a seismic testing company asking for permission to do seismic testing on your property, you should contact an attorney to review and amend the seismic testing company's agreement so that your rights are protected. I am saying this for all of you because all of you are citizens and perhaps you own property here in Monroeville. So I am not working against anybody. I believe that we are working together to protect ourselves. And so I am asking that there be a proposal based on the one that South Fayette has in place, based on what now the Oakmont Borough, they used this that I provided to you, that it be put in place in Monroeville, and that we would vote on that as soon as possible. And that's what I'm here to propose. My ultimate goal is to make sure that the municipality does not get sued because we are not complying with the act that is now the majority of the Supreme Court in the state of Pennsylvania that says our air and water is protected. I live in Monroeville, Pennsylvania on Trotwood Drive, and I have a sign in my front yard that says, "Protect our children. Don't frack near schools." Why do I have a sign like that in Monroeville, Pennsylvania? I put it up about a month ago or whenever the elections were, I don't know. And I thought, well, I'm putting it up here because I know that there's a school up in Butler somewhere that was just closed because the water was contaminated, their well water was contaminated by the fracking that was going on there. And I guess I put it up because what I didn't realize is that seismic testing is coming here potentially, and so is fracking. And so it's something that we all need to at least open our eyes up about. If anybody has any questions, I am very happy to work along with anybody. I will feed you the information that is necessary that I have, and in return, I'm asking for the answers to my questions.
Alyssa, can you have my email address. Can you email me the questions you have just asked?
I would request, with all due respect, I have taken my time to come here. I have spent hours and hours and hours of research. With all due respect, I would ask that you watch the video and take the questions that I've asked and answer them. Thank you.
Okay.